Hi, I'm Tim Bartz, Internet Sales Manager here at McArthur Ford in Salina, Kansas. And in this video we have recorded, it was actually recorded during our live stream that we do this last Tuesday. So, we do a live stream every Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central, when we go over scheduling information, dealer news updates, recalls, and usually have a topic of the week and some other things. But more importantly, we answer your questions live, the community's questions. So we usually have about a couple hundred people in there each week that are watching this live and asking us questions about their order, or how they should order their vehicle and that kind of thing. And that's what we're here for, is to help you answer any questions. So if you want to join us live, and if you have any questions about scheduling, we can answer them live for you. Also, if you drop them down below, we'll try to get those responded as well. But feel free to come back next week. Again, Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central, if you want to join us live and ask your question, and we can answer your individual question if it hasn't been answered in the past. So I hope you guys do enjoy this video, and I hope to see you next week. All right, so we're going to talk about some scheduling information for this week. And I know we are into June, but we are still working off May's allocations for your dealers. So that's why you're going to find some models that aren't scheduled this week. And it's not because we're into June scheduling and they're not planning to. It's that we're still working on May's allocations for scheduling in those dates in July. So we're still working on that. So last week we kind of talked about some notes for the month of June scheduling for August production, that those will not start until next week. So let's go ahead and first off start about the terminology. And we do have some typos in here. I forgot to get with Jeff and get this fixed, but we got a couple typos in here. So luckily, I think it was Brian that clued me in. I saw one last week, but we had a couple typos in here. All right. So we do right here. So order banks, that's what we're talking about, is these retail orders. They're placed in an order bank by the dealer. So you're ordering from the dealer, and the dealer is ordering from Ford, and they do that, and they put those orders in the order bank. A retail order is a customer placed order. Ford likes to know that it's a retail order, because then they can prioritize that order, and it does get a higher priority. And then also we do have stock orders, or orders placed by the dealer for stock or lot inventory. Priority code, a priority, that's where one of our typos is. Priority is given to orders by the dealer, 03 to 19 for retail, 20 to 80 for stock. The lower, the better. Scheduling, that's when Ford schedules an order for production dates in future months. Production date, that is when Ford plans to build your vehicle or your order, basically. An allocation, Ford gives dealers allocations to schedule their orders. A dealer needs an allocation to schedule an order in the order bank. Dealer earns allocations from their sales, that's another typo, for each model within their region. All right, so now there's also something we like to call constraints. You'll probably hear us talk about that. That is where an option may be in short supply or may take longer for it to be built. And then capacity, that is the planned production rate for a given motor, trim, and option. Those two terminologies go hand in hand. Capacity, like on a Super Duty F450, is very low. Only about 2% of the Super Duties built are 450s, and because of that, it takes longer for those 450s to get scheduled for production. Job 1 and 2, Ford will split that into two different job runs within a model year, and that's because if they want to introduce something new, they'll do that in a job 2, like they've done with Bronco, they've done with Ranger, they've done with F-150, and then balance out, that's the end of production or the balance out for a particular option or whatever it might be. So basically, like the edge right now is balanced out forever, actually. So, all right. So let's get into this. We might bring more of that into it, but again, kind of that's some of the terminology right there. So 24 model year Mustang is the first one we're going to talk about. The order banks are open up for about all trim levels with the exception of the Dark Horse. The Dark Horse is now closed. Now it's still open for stock. So if a dealer gets an allocation that they didn't plan on, and they don't already have a retail order in there, since the retail order banks are closed, they can still place that stock order for that customer. And then when it comes in, they just need to know that that was for that customer. There's currently 953 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. They are not scheduling this week and for anything. And just kind of let you know, probably the biggest constraint of anything in the Mustang is the black painted roof. If you have that, just keep that in mind. And I'm going to go through on all these just because we do have numbers now for May production and sales. In the month of May, they produced 4,000 or 5,440 Mustangs in May, and they sold 3,559 vehicle sales or Mustang sales in May. So next is the 24 model year Escape. The order banks are closing on June 6th. 2 days. They are closing the order banks for, it says for plug-in and hybrid. It does not say for the other ones, but I've been told that their order banks are going to be closing for all Escapes coming up. Now, stocks will stay open. So if you're somebody out there and like, oh, I wanted to place an order, they can still place it as a stock order for you after that. Currently 301 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. They are not scheduling this week for any build dates. May production, they produced 19,784 Escapes in the month of May, and Ford sold 14,076 Escapes in May. Next is the 24 model year Bronco Sport. The order banks are open up for all trim levels right now. It's not closed. They currently have 142 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank, so not too many. They are scheduling this week for production weeks July 1st through July 15th. So the first half of the month, for some reason, it is cleanup scheduling, which means that your dealer needs an allocation. So what they're trying to do is clean up any leftover allocations a dealer might have. And they might have that left over because they don't have a stock order put in the system. So then Ford won't be able to schedule a stock if there's not a retail. So they're letting dealers know, hey, we want to clean that up. You need to put in a stock order so we can fill the allocation that we're giving you. Now, if there's a retail order in there, it's always going to try to select that retail order. But if it's a configuration which is limited, like we're going to talk about in just a second, then they need to look for a different order. So sometimes that's why you might see where a dealer has an allocation and a stock gets scheduled instead of retail. It's because they don't have a retail order, the configuration that they need to fulfill the rest of their production for that month. So limited availability on the Bronco Sport for the Big Bend series. Also, the convenience package, which is optional on the Big Bend and the freewheeling. The black appearance package, which is optional on the Big Bend series only. So I think it's saying which is only on the Big Bend. So the black appearance package, evidently on the Outer Banks, is okay. Maybe I'm thinking of a different package. Sorry, never nix that idea. And the wheel, 18-inch machine face aluminum ebony black painted wheel. That's the one that's standard on the Outer Banks, is limited. The tire, the 225/65 R17, the all season that is standard on the Big Bend, as well as the 17-inch carbonized gray painted low gloss wheel. That's the optional one on the Badlands, and the power moonroof, which is optional on all versions. And then exhaust availability is the tech package, which is optional on Outer Banks. So doesn't leave a lot of configurations there, but Badlands really wasn't noticed. If you go with the standard wheel, Badlands can actually looks like it could get scheduled because it's not limited availability or exhausted in any aspect. So that might be a way to go. All right. Next up, 24 model year Bronco. The order banks are open up for most trim levels. Let me go through the ones that are closed currently. The Heritage 4-door, the regular Heritage Edition 4-door is closed. The Heritage Limited Edition 2-door and 4-door is closed. In fact, the Heritage Limited 4-door is balanced out. They're not gonna schedule any more for production for 4-door. They're just looking at 2-door Heritage Limiteds right now. And again, a dealer needs a special limited Heritage Limited allocation to get that scheduled. Now, Heritage Edition, those they're using regular Bronco allocations for those, as well as Everglades. Raptor does have its own special allocation that's given to dealers for Raptor scheduling. So one of the things you'll notice is starting last week that the order banks are open up for the Heritage 2-door. That's the regular Heritage, not the limited. That's opened up for retail ordering. So, and it's those are also open up for stock ordering. So there you go. There's currently 1,447 unscheduled retail orders in order bank. They are not scheduling this week. There's an important note in here. It says Heritage Limited balance out for 4-door Heritage Limited balanced out for 24 model year. We just talked about that. Please be advised that due to Bronco's transition from job 1 to job 2, the 2.7 liter engine will no longer be available on the new Outer Banks orders. So if the order was already in there, you're good. You can leave it on there. And new orders for Job 2 were not available to be ordered with the 2.7 liter engine for both retail and stock, it says. Existing retail orders with the 2.7 will be built, it says. That's if they're already scheduled, from what I understand. Also, the new 33-inch mud-terrain tires will not be available on the Badlands version, even though they said it would be. So, things change. All right, moving on. 24 model year Mustang Mach-E. The order banks are open up. They are on Job 2 now, so all those changes are available to that. So you can order GT, Premium Select, GT Rally. Oh, I forgot to mention, going back, sorry. I'm going to go back to Bronco for a second. And I forgot to mention Bronco Sport. We'll talk about both Bronco products here. In the month of May, Ford produced 16,999 Bronco Sports and sold 9,933. On the Bronco at Michigan Assembly Plant, they produced 11,817 Broncos, and Ford sold 9,679 Broncos in the month of May. All right, now moving on to 24 model year Mach-E. Order banks are open up. There's currently 43 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. They are not scheduling this week. And last month, Ford made or produced 6,714 Mach-E's, including mine, and they sold 4,255. Probably most of those 23 model years, I would assume. But all right, that's all I have on that. No other constraints or anything mentioning on the Mach-E. Moving on, 24 model year Explorer. Order banks are open up for the Explorer, all trim levels. There's currently 374 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. They are not scheduling this week. No constraints, no notes here since they're not scheduling. So just so you know, May production for the Explorer was 8,442, and those were 25 model years, by the way. And for sales, most of those, of course, all of them would be the 24 model year. For May, they sold 16,728 Explorers in the month of May. There you go. All right, moving on. 24 model year Expedition. Order banks are open up for all trim levels of the Expedition. There's currently 340 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. They are not scheduling this week. For production in May, they produced 8,722 Expeditions at the Kentucky Truck Plant, and Ford sold 7,892 vehicles. So, all right, next up, 24 model year Maverick. Order banks are open up for the Maverick, all trim levels, retail and stock ordering. There's currently 7,686 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. They are scheduling this week. So they're scheduling for the weeks of July 1st through July 15th, just like Bronco Sport. Note in here, cleanup scheduling. Again, a dealer needs an allocation to get an order scheduled. If they don't have the configuration looking for as a retail order, they're going to be looking for stock orders. So that's why you're probably going to see maybe some stock ones getting scheduled when there's still retails out there. Limited availability for these options. The 2.0 liter EcoBoost engine, believe it or not, that is limited availability. The front wheel drive, it says, there you go. The bed liner, spray and bed liner, that's optional on the XL and XLT. Remember, that's on the XLT luxury package. It's automatically a drop in, so it wouldn't affect that order, or it wouldn't affect your Lariat package. It's just talking about the optional spray and bed liner here. Also, limited availability for the pickup, the Tonneau pickup box cover hard trifold. I've always said keep that off your orders. And then also the tire that's standard on the XL and XLT only is also limited availability. Exhaust availability for the XL trim, so they're probably not looking for that. Doesn't mean any XLs will get scheduled. It's just probably won't happen. Black appearance package as well, which is optional on XLT and Lariat series. The modular hard drop-in bed liner, that's the optional one. The splash guards, which I've again said leave that off your orders. The bed extender, again, leave off your orders. No reason to have that on there. 17-inch carbonized gray painted aluminum wheel, which is standard on XLT, as well as a 17-inch machine face carbonized gray painted aluminum wheel, which is optional on the XLT and Lariat. So again, they're just looking for specific things to be able to schedule and fill in those last slots, and dealers with an allocation can get selected for those. More than likely, it'll be stock orders. But there you go. All right. Next up is a 24 model year. Oh, I forgot to mention on the Maverick, they produced in month of May 17,468 Mavericks in the month of May. That is unheard of. So that plant built 34,000 vehicles. Wow, they're doing an awesome job. Sales for the Maverick, 13,616 Mavericks were sold in the month of May, which is, I think, almost 100% increase from the year before. Pretty cool. Next is a 24 model year Ranger. Order banks are open up for the Ranger for all configurations, including the Raptor, but your dealer would need a special Raptor allocation for it to ever be fulfilled. So keep that in mind. Currently 1,070 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. They are not scheduling for the Ranger this month, or this week, I should say. And just kind of numbers for last month, they produced 7,026 Rangers in the month of May. Pretty good numbers there. And they sold 4,703 Rangers in the month of May. So those Rangers are getting out there. So start looking for those. All right. Next up is a 24 model year Super Duty. Order banks are open up for the Super Duty. I'd stay away from ordering an F450. They already are overwhelmed with how many they have now. Wouldn't want to place one of those now at this point. There's currently 13,291 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. Of that, 59% of them are F450, if that tells you anything. Wow. And their capacity on that is about 2 to 6%, depending on if you're looking at a cabin chassis or one with a cab. All right. Kentucky Truck Plant is going to be scheduled this week for the weeks of 7/8 through 7/29. And then it says scheduling is complete for July production in Ohio. So Ohio will not be scheduling any orders, only Kentucky Truck Plant. It says they're still needing those orders for the 6.8 liter XLs without the heavy duty standard alternator. Actually, they don't mention the gooseneck on that one. 250s and 350 XLT and Lariats with a 7.3 liter without the fifth wheel gooseneck hitch prep package. So I guess if you want to get the prep package, put on an XL with the 6.8. I don't know. I guess, though, would you be using your fifth wheel on a 6.8 liter? Anyway, it's pretty powerful, but most people probably wouldn't try to tow that way. They do need some orders with the spray-in bed liner and the factory one. Also, limit availability for only 2 options. The limited, makes sense, and the two-wheel drive Dana axle, which is standard on the 450, 550, 600 two-wheel drives, pickup or chassis cabs. They're not showing any other constraints, but they also keep in mind Ohio is done. They're not going to schedule, and they're only going to fill in the last slots they need for Kentucky for the month of July. So, all right. In the month of in May, though, they produced 34,755 Super Duties in the month of May and sold actually, they only show F-Series sales, which would be Super Duties and F-150s. 69,467 F-150s and Super Duties that sold in the month of May. Moving on to the 24 model year F-150. The order banks are open up for the 24 model year. All configurations, including all those Job 2 things. There's currently 8,229 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. They are scheduled this week for the week of July 22nd. And also, it's just a reminder, we say this every week. If you have the tow haul package, don't forget to make sure you have that max tow axle for the 3.5 liter gas engine. Needs to be, do they have this right? I think they got that flipped around. Just make sure you have the right axle, the XL5 or XL7 for the 373 or 355 for the 5.0s and the gas. I think they got it flipped around this week. Anyway. The bed utility package is changing with the product starting for production starting the week of June 10th, which is next week. They will now have the different plates on those and then include the other tie-down plates in the vehicle. The cleats you'll have to get through your Ford parts departments. All right. And then also for production for May, they produced 54,109 F-Series or F-150s in the month of May between both plants. And in case you're curious, they also produced 3,260. Actually, Actually, I think Lightning sales was 3,260. We don't know how many vehicles, how many Lightnings they produced. Probably because they don't want you to know. All right, moving on. 24 model year Transits. Order banks are open up for the Transits. Currently 6,077 unscheduled retail orders in the order bank. They are scheduled this week for the week of July 29th. Limited availability for the E-Transit. That's the only note in here. For the month of May, they produced 17,034 Transits at Kansas City, and they sold 15,862, with 1,451 of those being E-Transits. And that's all I have for scheduled notes. So again, if you're watching this as a recorded video for Wednesday, put your questions down below. I try to answer those as quickly and as efficiently as I can when I see those. For those of you watching it live with us on Tuesday night, let's get to those questions, Sarah.